let's dive into 20 interesting facts about Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Today, we're jumping into a super fun explainer looking at exactly how this absolute masterpiece totally redefined open-world piracy for all of us.
Number 1. The amazing team over at Ubisoft Montreal officially brought this massive adventure to us back in 2013. It's actually wild to think about now, right? Because making a gigantic pirate-themed game was a pretty huge creative risk back then. Up until this point, the whole franchise was super focused on dense city parkour and political intrigue. So taking a flagship series and pivoting straight out into the open ocean, that was a massive gamble. But man, looking at its legacy today, it obviously paid off in a really big way.
Number 2. Okay, get ready to have your mind blown by this family link. Edward Kenway is actually the father of Haytham and the grandfather of Connor, who we all played as in Assassin's Creed 3. It's just such a brilliant piece of world building. Instead of just moving the story forward in time, the developers actually went backwards so we could experience the origins of this totally wild family tree. Getting to see exactly where the Kenway bloodline gets that fierce, rebellious spirit adds so much cool depth to everything that happens later on during the American Revolution. Number 3. So the behind-the-scenes hustle on this game is literally unbelievable. They actually started developing Black Flag while Assassin's Creed 3 was still fully in the works. No way, right? This kind of parallel development really shows just how incredibly massive the studio's resources were at the time. It meant totally different teams could build these gigantic, beautiful historical worlds simultaneously without missing a single beat. Plus, it meant they could secretly share engine upgrades and all those cool naval mechanics behind the scenes long before the third game even shipped.
Number 4. It's always so awesome when creators actually listen to the fans. Players absolutely loved the limited ship battles in Assassin's Creed 3. Like, they couldn't get enough of them. So the dev team actively pivoted their design strategy to make naval combat a massive core feature for Black Flag. It's a fantastic example of letting audience feedback steer the ship, pun totally intended. They saw what brought us joy and basically built an entire massive ecosystem right around those specific mechanics.
Number 5. All right, that is our first 5 facts down, and this one is actually hilarious. During early testing, the playtesters were getting so incredibly distracted by just sailing around that they were completely ignoring the main story missions. Because they were having so much fun on the water, it actually inspired the whole studio to lean fully into the pirate fantasy. It just goes to show, sometimes the best gameplay is the kind you stumble into by accident. I mean, who really needs a strict list of story missions when the open ocean is literally calling your name? Number 6, Edward is such a uniquely awesome hero for this series. You know how most assassins are driven by these really noble, grand ideologies right from the very start? Well, Edward is honestly just out there chasing cold, hard wealth and absolute freedom on the high seas. It's such a cool, deliberate writing choice because it makes his character growth feel so much more grounded and earned by the end. You aren't playing a traditional hero. You're playing a flawed guy who has to slowly figure out that some things actually matter way more than gold. Number 7. The sheer dedication to immersion from this dev team is absolutely off the charts. They didn't just sit in some office reading history books. They spent years researching real pirate history to make the Caribbean feel totally authentic. They even went out and recorded real ocean and environmental sounds. That insane level of meticulous audio detail is exactly why sailing in Black Flag feels so ridiculously alive. From the specific creak of the wooden hull to the crashing waves, it really makes you feel like you're right there on the water. Number 8. Getting to mix real history with an action game is always cool, but Black Flag does it perfectly. You actually get to interact directly with legendary real-life historical pirates. We're talking about heavy hitters like Blackbeard, Charles Vane, Anne Bonny, and Calico Jack. And it doesn't stop there. Nassau itself, your main hub in the game, was a real place actually known as the Pirate Republic. It essentially serves as this incredibly fun, interactive history lesson where you get to walk right alongside the very people who made this era so famous. Number 9. Choosing the golden age of piracy was just an absolute stroke of genius by the developers. Why? Because at the time, it was such a wildly unexplored setting for big, major video games. Most historical games back then leaned heavily into major wars or ancient empires, but by choosing the early 1700s Caribbean, they unlocked this completely fresh palette of vibrant tropical colors, awesome naval mechanics, and a rebellious energy that gamers just hadn't experienced on that scale before. Number 10. Woohoo! We've officially hit the halfway mark. And honestly, the technical wizardry behind this next fact is still mind-blowing today. One of the absolute biggest challenges the team faced was creating a completely seamless world. Think about it, running from a thick island jungle, jumping onto your massive ship, and taking the wheel, all without triggering a single loading screen. Back in 2013, pulling that off was a monumental hurdle. Removing those screens completely transformed how believable the world felt, keeping you totally immersed in the pirate fantasy.
Number 11. The sheer scale of this game was quite literally breathtaking when it launched. The open world map was actually one of the largest they had ever created for an Assassin's Creed title at the time. And the best part? It wasn't just a bunch of empty, boring space. It was absolutely packed with uncharted islands, super deep underwater shipwrecks, crazy dynamic weather systems, and heavily guarded enemy forts. They designed it so perfectly that just exploring the map was a reward in itself, always giving you something totally new to discover just over the horizon. Number 12. It's fascinating how the creators managed to elevate exploring the open ocean to feel just as important and thrilling as the classic parkour-heavy stealth gameplay we were all used to. They successfully balanced two completely different genres, stealth action and naval simulation, into one cohesive, amazing experience. You could seamlessly go from quietly tailing a target through a colonial town straight into a massive, explosive cannon battle against a Spanish galleon, and neither half felt tacked on.
Number 13. Okay, we absolutely cannot talk about Black Flag without hyping up the sea shanties. They basically became a genuine cultural phenomenon all on their own. Players loved these catchy tunes sung by the crew so much that they were jamming out to them in real life, completely outside of the game. I know I definitely caught myself humming them while just doing chores around the house. It's the perfect testament to how vital a great, catchy soundtrack is when building an unforgettable atmosphere.
Number 14. To make the magic of those shanties even cooler, the audio team didn't just compose fake pirate songs. They used real, authentic songs that actual historical sailors used to sing centuries ago. They did the deep archival research to find the genuine article. It's such an awesome example of using meticulous historical research to elevate the game. They took what could have just been a simple collectible and turned it into the absolute beating heart of the game's identity. Number 15. All right, we are entering the final stretch of facts. Let's go. Edward's ship, the Jackdaw, is so much more than just a quick vehicle for getting around the map. Honestly, it practically becomes a core character in its own right. As you invest tons of resources into upgrading its hull and recruiting your crew over dozens of hours, it genuinely starts to feel like your very own floating home. That incredible, deep sense of ownership is exactly why the Jackdaw remains one of the most iconic and beloved ships in all of gaming history. Number 16, critics and fans alike widely viewed this game as a massive, super necessary reinvention of the franchise's formula. By intentionally shifting the main focus away from those sprawling, dense cities and purely land-based assassinations, Black Flag brought a much-needed breath of fresh air to the whole series. Introducing entirely new systems like hunting, underwater diving, and fleet management proved beautifully that the franchise could evolve way beyond its original blueprint. Number 17. The universal praise this game received wasn't just for one standout feature. It was for how perfectly everything blended together into one unified vision. The gorgeous tropical world design, the sweeping orchestral music, and that super satisfying crunch of naval combat, it all just clicked. It created this gameplay loop that was incredibly addictive, where literally every single activity, from harpooning to boarding massive enemy ships, felt highly rewarding and just plain fun. Number 18. The legacy of Black Flag within the wider gaming industry is absolutely immense. It effectively proved to big publishers everywhere that there was a massive, untapped market out there for large-scale naval adventures. By executing the ship combat so perfectly, it heavily influenced almost the entire wave of pirate and ship combat games that followed over the next decade. It essentially set the gold standard, drawing the map for exactly what a pirate game should look and feel like. Number 19. Because the original title is so universally beloved by fans, it directly paved the way for the highly anticipated July 2026 remake. Seeing this vibrant world completely rebuilt with modern 4K graphics and a buttery smooth 60 frames per second is gonna be incredible. It finally allows modern players to experience the Caribbean without being held back by those old technical limitations and 30 FPS caps of older console generations. It is just such a massive win for preserving gaming history. Number 20.
Ultimately, beneath all the epic swashbuckling and cannon fire, this explainer points to a much deeper, meaningful theme that absolute, true freedom always comes with heavy responsibility, sacrifice, and real consequences for the choices we make. Edward's crazy journey reminds us that a life completely without rules isn't without cost, which leaves us with a fun question to ponder. If you were handed absolute freedom on the high seas, would you truly be willing to pay the price that comes with it? Well, if you had a blast discovering these facts on today's explainer, make sure to drop a like, share this with a fellow gamer, and smash that subscribe button for more awesome deep dives. See you next time.